Hello, welcome to All Saints Catholic School Online Sixth Form Induction. You are watching Session 3, Support and Intervention for all Sixth Formers, where we're going to focus on folder organisation, making effective notes, and then organising ourselves so that during our study periods in the ILC we make the best use of our time. Before we start, can you make sure that you have everything you need for the session? This will include your induction booklet, a pen, and preferably make sure you're working in a quiet place where you can focus and concentrate. So folder organisation in sixth form is an important part. Not only does it help you get yourself prepared for lessons and make sure you don't forget anything, it'll also de-stress you because you'll know that you've got things in order. It'll know you can be happy and confident that work has been completed, and therefore when it's asked for, there's no deadlines missed. What we ask at All Saints is to have 2 folders per subject. You have an assessment folder that will contain your current notes and any assessments in the subject throughout the year, and then a slightly larger folder which contains and is divided all of the revision material or specifications. These folders will probably stay at home most of the time unless your teachers ask for specific work, and then you may take them in. But take a minute just to read and make sure that you make notes on what the 2 folders should have. We also recommend having a travel folder. Sounds fairly simple. It's just to transport your work from home into school. Making sure that presentation and all the effort you've put in at home can be seen when it arrives at school. There's nothing worse than a scratched up piece of paper when you get to school. So in this travel folder, you may have your homework in there. You may keep a copy of the specification, either print it out or write it down, so that you're always aware of what you're going to be learning or what you are currently learning. There may be assessments that you've been given that you need to make notes on or redo. And then you transport your notes for the current topic only. Remember, if it's more than the current topic, they would be stored in your bigger folder that you've got at home. We don't suggest that you have one exercise book in which you write all your notes for every subject, because then it gets quite confusing as to what page goes with which subject. Lined paper is fine, preferably in a book or booklet, if you know what I mean. And then that way you can remove those pages and put them into the correct folders when you get home. Okay, let's get started. So your first task then for me, whichever subjects you have chosen, I want you to go and look for the summary specification. That it's quite simple. If you was to put into Google your subject specification and the exam board, it will probably come up, and then organise it and save it in preparation to go in your folder. When you arrive at school, you will be given the 2 folders per subject. You will need to source your own travel folder, so make sure you get that ready for September. In addition, make sure you get some paper. Yes, the school will give it to you, but as I said to you, if it's in a pad where you can remove it and put it into your folder as you go, that's far better than loose pieces of paper that teachers are probably going to give you. Okay, quite an obvious slide, but just so we can show exactly what we'd expect you to have. We've spoken about the 2 folders per subject. we've spoken about the writing pads. You can see there what a travel folder would look like. That's just a suggestion. Anything that you can have that will be able to allow you to transport work to and from home. You probably want to go and get some dividers, and that way each topic that you study can be separated. And then if you're going to have lots and lots of loose paper, it's often useful to have plastic wallets to put that work into. And again, that can be used to transport work to and from school if you deem it necessary. Needless to say, there's lots of other things we could sit and recommend, but each to their own. A lot of people like highlighters, they like writing in different colours. Just remember, research out there suggests that your brain will recall information if it is in different colours, if there are diagrams. So to have those available to you would be useful. Some of you may have used revision cards at your GCSEs and found them extremely useful. So therefore continue that as you go in your A-levels. After every lesson, and we'll come back to this, create a revision card that you can then use as a source of revision when it comes around to your test. And post-it notes, again, during your GCSEs, you may have used these to help you revise. They're especially useful if you just need to write something down very quickly and then come back to it at a later date. So sticking it on the top of a page to remind you exactly what needs to be edited or changed on that particular sheet if a teacher has given you feedback or live feedback in a lesson. Okay, well done. That's the first part of this session. The first objectives have been highlighted green, and hopefully now you can understand the importance of being organised from the start and how we go about doing it. Okay, moving on to the next session. I want you to learn how to use the Cornell method of taking notes. Now, some of you may be familiar with this, so others it may be completely alien. Take your time with this, because to get this right takes a little while, but once it's done right, it will be a huge source of revision and support as the course progresses. So there are two videos, two different subjects, so at university level and at A level, that talk you through how to make Cornell notes. What I would suggest whilst you're doing it is copy the structure. So get a plain piece of paper and copy the structure. That will help you prepare for the next task. If there are any other notes you want to make as you go along, just that tell you exactly how this method works, by all means do that. Okay, the task. So on the previous slide I said or requested that you draw out the Cornell note method onto a plain piece of paper. If you didn't do that now for me please. Then you can click on the link that says what is life. This is all about a biology topic. And I want you to practice creating Cornell notes. So at the top, create a title. As you read the article, you're going to write down the key terms down the left hand side. In the main body, I want you to summarise what this document is all about. Now remember what I said earlier about recall. Your brain will remember colour and pictures. So wherever possible, do something called dual coding. So if there are certain words you can draw a picture for above it or instead of it even, do it, because your brain is more likely to recall that when it comes to later on. And good habits. Now I know some of you will say I'm not studying biology. That doesn't matter. At the minute we're just practicing the skill of taking notes. That as you progress, there are going to be topics that you've never heard of, similar to if you're not studying biology. So therefore, to make notes on something you've not necessarily come across before will certainly help you. Okay, well done. So we've now started to learn how to make effective notes in lessons or when studying independently. That is going to hugely link into what we are doing next, because to be able to create notes independently is something that you should be doing when you are in the ILC, when you are away from your teacher, looking at either the current topic or the new topic. So there's one thing left, and that last part of this unit is all about how we're going to make better use of the ILC time on your timetable. So the first thing I would suggest you do each morning is to write a to-do list. A list of things that you know that throughout the day you need to complete. Some days there may be more than others, but doing it in the morning will make sure that you're organised for the day ahead. That may be during ILC time, that may be during breaks, it might be after school, but it gives you an idea of exactly what needs to be completed on that particular day. If you're doing it for a week, fine, but then we just need to make sure that we come back and review it on a daily basis to make sure there's nothing that we're not missing out. So to make a to-do list is quite a simple thing. You write down all the things, as I say, that you need to do each day. However, what we're trying to do here is look at how we can do this more effectively. So research shows, first of all, that we will noticeably become overwhelmed if there is too much. So therefore, you're going to try and categorize them. So, for example, it may be stationery, jobs, personal, or it might be 3 different subjects. But try and think of categories so that the list looks smaller. The second thing is to add an estimation next to each one. How long do you think it will take you to complete a task? 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is, so that in your head when you look at it, you know roughly how much time you need to give over to that. Next one is probably the most important thing, prioritising. Now if you can master this skill at A level, it's going to help you for years and years and years ahead. Once you've written down what you need to do, you then need to choose which one is the most important, which one has a deadline that's sooner maybe, or maybe in your head, you'd rather get out of the way. So then you number each thing on your to-do list, 1 to 5, 1 to 6, 1 to 7, whatever it may be. And then you know that when you get to the ILC for your first free study period, number 1 is your priority. If you get that done, you move on to number 2. And like I said on the previous slide, you need to make sure you review it. So if you have created a week-long list of to-do, it needs to be checked regularly to make sure that you're not going to miss out on any deadlines. Alternatively, even if it's daily, reviewing it just makes sure that by the end of the day you have achieved everything you do. And there will be a huge sense of achievement if you can continually keep ticking things off, knowing that the work you've given yourself, you've managed to achieve. So your task, here's a list of things that we would probably say some of you will have to do come September. Using the pointers on the previous slide, I want you to organise them into things to do. So you're going to categorise it, you're going to add estimations, you are then going to prioritise it. Now when you categorise it, you could put your categories in different colours. When you prioritise it, you may put your numbers in different colours. I keep going back to it. Remember, your brain recalls colour. And if it does that, it means that you can start to get on with things sooner. It's only going to benefit you. Some of you will think, this is way too early. Why would I be planning out my personal statement? And I've not even started year 12. I cannot stress how important this personal statement is to you if you want to get into the university of your choice. Equally, just how many times you will write it before you are happy with it to give to your teacher. and even then your teacher will then rip it apart positively of things that you need to add. So by starting now, it then gives you plenty of time to make any adjustments that you need to, so that when the time comes to submit your personal statement, it is the best version of itself. So researching, looking at others' examples are all things that you could be doing to make sure that your personal statement can get started. This is something no one really thinks about until halfway through year 12, but actually starting to research universities sooner gives you a better idea of where you want to go, and then raises your aspiration because you know how hard you need to work to get there. Prospectuses are normally free for most universities, so if you contact them, they'll almost certainly send you out, and then you can spend your ILC time reading these, having a look at whether or not you think it suits where you want to go. You also have access to Uniform. Again, using your ILC time to make yourself familiar with this, because this is where you have to submit your personal statement as well. So getting on there and having a look and researching what results you need, what grades you need to get into certain places, will only benefit you further down the line. Now, we've spoken about this before, and some of you may have done it, but preparing revision cards is a great use of ILC time. So whenever you tell a teacher, I've got nothing to do, everybody can do this. It's just a case of doing it effectively. So how do you do it? You can write the keyword on one side, the definition on another. You could write a keyword on one side and the diagram or the process on the back. You may write the opening paragraph to a long answer question on one side with keywords on the other side. You can see that the one word I keep using is keywords. So on one side you would always write a keyword or keywords. On the back is a summary of that, whether or not it's in diagrams or definitions or small paragraph. And then the second thing I keep mentioning is colour. Keep these as colourful as possible to make sure your brain can recall them further down the line. Okay, our newest addition to Sixth Form is the use of these pixel independent worksheets and booklets. Pixel independence is something that you will all be provided with a login with, and once you get yourselves in, you'll have resources that will allow you to study your chosen subjects. All you will need to do is to print these. Now you can ask member staff to print these for you if you haven't got any credit. There may be some available within the ILC, or you in advance, if you're being very well organised, you can have them ready. You can then give them to your teachers to mark, but can certainly be used alongside to improve your subject knowledge on specific topics. Okay, great. You're making progress. As you can see, that's all 3 learning objectives coloured green. Thank you all very much for listening. That's now the end of this session. Could you please click on the link where it says click here to complete the knowledge quiz and submit your answers for this session, please. To leave you with one final thought, just remember that organisation is not perfection. You are never going to get everything exactly where you want it. What you are trying to do is make yourself more efficient, reduce your stress levels, and save your time. If you do that, we can guarantee that your quality of life will improve. All the best, good luck.